Welcome to the Hangout Sessions. Myself, Travis. I'm here with Perry, and we have a guest here. We have Cookie from AFC Game By Game. So, if you're an Arsenal fan, first and foremost, and you want match previews and match reviews, go over there, check his channel, subscribe, and all that. But yeah, welcome, Cookie. Welcome.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Yeah. What we wanted to talk about is the split between Arsenal fans, because it's clear that there's a major split between the two groups of fans. We've got the Wenger outs, we've got the Wenger ins, and we just wanted to dive deep into the psychology behind both sides of fans.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, man. Literally before we started recording, we were talking about this and we started to go into it regarding the fans who are adamantly Wenger in. I think it's more Arsene Wenger loyalty rather than Arsenal loyalty. You know, like Arsenal's obviously a club that's existed 100 years before Wenger became manager at Arsenal, and I feel like the actual loyalty is not the loyalty from the Wenger in fans is more Arsene loyalty as a person rather than the Arsenal fans, rather than the Arsenal loyalty as a club. That's where my issue comes in with it. It's not so much people having a different opinion. It's the fact that when Arsene Wenger leaves, there will always be at Arsenal. But I find it so remarkable how he has so much support at this stage after so many years of arguable mediocrity. I just find it bizarre that he has so much support. We saw last season at the stadiums how the protests got sounded out by a lot of fans, which shocked me. It shocked me. It took me back. I didn't expect it to be that way.
Because you were there were you both there that day? Cookie, were you there that day?
Was that the Time for Change protest?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was there that day. I was sat in the clock end lower, and that's probably where it had its most predominant effect, I'd say.
Really? So
I was not there that day, but
oh, you weren't there that day? Oh, you didn't go?
Nah, I was too angry. I was mad, so I wasn't going to any games. At that point, I was just fuming, innit? So I was like, nah, I'm not going to any games. I'm not buying no merchandise. I'm just nah. But obviously, I saw on TV the feedback. But what are you thinking, Cookie, about the psychology behind it and why so many fans are so adamant?
It's a bit of a difficult one because for the younger generation of fans like yourself and myself, I'm 20 years old and I've known nothing apart from Arsene Wenger. He's been the man that I've grown up with. I've watched his style of football, and to be frank, it does kind of concern me a little, wondering what is beyond him. The first 10 years of watching Arsenal when I was incredibly young, I mean, that's got to be the most enjoyable experience I've had. But the last 10 years where I've matured as a football fan, you know, it's not been particularly enjoyable to watch at times.
Me as an Arsenal fan, man, obviously the first manager I've seen being a fan was Wenger. So obviously he gets my respect for that, for being the first manager I saw at the club, being the first manager in the dugout. At I don't know, I see it like at every profession, every job, there has to be some accountability. Like with everything that happens in life, you have to be accountable at some extent. And when the season starts, I don't think most Arsenal fans think they can compete. I feel like at the bare minimum, Arsenal fans should at least feel like they have a chance. And I feel like with that feeling gone, there has to be some sort of accountability held at the top.
But you're talking as a fan who's lost hope in the manager. So I am pretty sure there are fans who have faith in Wenger that believe we can compete and think we should stop panicking. Like I've heard people say, it's only 2 games in. Why is everyone panicking? So
that's what I want to work out. Where is the
thing
faith?
Well, you've got to remember we have played 2 very good teams, and we've got 1 point out of the possible 5, which looks appalling on paper. But Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp, I think they're building an absolutely sensational team. Which it doesn't really help my point that they lost 2-0 away at Turf Moor yesterday, but they are still an exciting team, a team that went to the Emirates and had a real game plan and really did bring it to us. Leicester, on the other hand, they are the Premier League champions, albeit I still think we should have gone there and got 3 points. And it has been an incredibly frustrating start to the season, and you can't help but feel that if we had brought in a centre half before the game against Liverpool, then we'd have gone on to win that game, because we got the goal, we got a penalty as well. Fair enough, Theo Walcott missed it, but we could have gone into the second half of that game against Liverpool still being 1-0 up. It could have been a totally different pattern to the game because we were in control of it. It comes down to the fact that we went into this season unprepared, incompetent, naive, with Wenger believing in players like Rob Holding, Callum Chambers. I mean, he left Callum Chambers out of the starting 11 yesterday, which really shows that he doesn't rate him particularly as a centre-half anymore, and it brings into doubt his future at Arsenal Football Club. As well as that, he knows that we've needed a striker, considering he's made bids in the range of 35 million for Lacazette, bidding 20 million for Jamie Vardy. He knows that this squad isn't ready to go into the season, so why he's allowed us to go into not just the first game, but the second game with a squad that isn't prepared, every fan has a right to be angry at him. I'm angry at him because it's just naive. It's something we've seen season after season after season. We lose the opening game, and whether you say history shows you that we always lose the opening game, it's 3 points lost in a game that we could have quite easily won. And now we're playing catch-up with United, with City. City went to a ground where we're more than likely going to lose at the Britannia Stadium. United picking up good results away from home against Bournemouth and Southampton. Chelsea getting 2 rather stodgy wins on the bounce. I mean, they're still picking up points. We're 5 points behind these teams. It's a real worrying time to be a fan. And with just 10 days left to go, I believe it is, in the transfer market, I mean, I could totally understand fans' frustration. We've had 3 months to prepare for this season, and we go into it totally incompetent.
He doesn't like the fact that there's money involved in football. Like, he just doesn't like whenever transfers come up, he gets uncomfortable. His body language changes. Like, he looks like he's being spoken down to. Like, it's just a horrible approach to a vital part of modern football.
And that's the worrying thing, I suppose, because he's an older manager, with all due respect to him. I mean, he's coming up to his mid to late 60s now. He's had some fantastic stuff in the earlier part of his career when he inherited a team which had the likes of Ray Parlour, that incredible back four with Nigel Winterburn in it, etc. Incredible team they inherited, and he built his success off of that, and then brought in players like Cesc Fabregas, more technical players, and he brought a new era of football to the modern game, and he has to be praised for that. But one area where he's falling behind and where he's constantly naive is in the transfer market, and the most frustrating thing about it is every man and his dog knows that we've got the money. So I don't understand his reluctancy to improve a squad which has evidently got so much potential to go the distance in the Premier League season upon season upon season. The most infuriating part about it is we sign a centre-half and we sign a striker. We don't need to sign anyone else for another 3 years, essentially.
I literally think if Arsenal spent, I literally believe if Arsenal would have spent about 100 million this transfer market, which is less, mind you, than Man City and your Man United. I think if we would have spent 100 million, 90 million maybe, in this transfer window, we probably would have gone on to at least compete for the title on 3 players. I mean, obviously, I can see Xhaka is a great player. We saw that in the Euros as well. You can see he's a great player, but he would not have been my choice. I would have picked a player who breaks the mold completely. I would have picked a more defensive player like Kante and tried to bid for him. I would have gone for a striker like Lacazette, and I would have gone for like Mustafi in defense, or a similar sort of player. Maybe we could have actually Eric Bailly was probably out of Arsenal's budget, but someone out of that caliber would have bidded for. And I think that would have been our business done.
I was going to say, why is it, do you feel, it seems to me that the people who aren't as happy with Wenger as the people who are quite content with him are louder? Why is that? They're out there you see them, they're more loud outside the stadiums. You see them on Arsenal Fan TV. They seem to be very vocal on Twitter. They make a lot of noise. Like, why is that?
Yeah, like I said, I reckon it's because the Wenger Out fans are actually passionate about the future of the club. Like, they see beyond the Wenger era. It's inevitable, like I said, that Wenger's going to retire. They see beyond that. They just want the betterment of the club. Whereas the radical Wenger in people who just know, I trust him, like, let him do what he wants. Like, if he doesn't want to sign anyone, it's fine. Them guys care about Wenger more than the club. Like, their loyalty is with Wenger more so than the club.
Would you agree?
That's how I'm rationalising it.
Because it seems harsh to say that, but I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's a bit of a big statement to say that maybe those that want Wenger out are more passionate about the club, because there are a lot of old school fans that have seen a long time before what Arsene Wenger brought to the club. People that date back to George Graham, etc. These are the old school fans that know what life is like beyond Arsene Wenger. I could totally appreciate that. And as I said previously, being a younger fan myself, at just 20 years old, Arsene Wenger is all I've known, and I wouldn't say I'm content with him because I want a change. If he was to go out and spend 100 million and we competed for the title but we didn't win it, I could certainly appreciate his efforts in that sense. But it's the fact that we're seeing no sense of urgency, no sense of trying, and no sense of ambition, which we've seen consistently on a regular basis. The transfer window started so well when we brought in Xhaka, and we had such a great opportunity to continue from that point, bring in what we needed, bring in that centre half, bring in the striker. We know that we've needed these players for a good 4 months now, ever since the end of last season. So the fact that we haven't brought them in is just totally barbaric. But relaying back to your earlier point about the Wenger Out fans, being a fan that goes to a lot of games myself, the mind boggles what goes through fans' head at times. Because at the start of the Liverpool game, there were an absolute abundance of fans chanting "One Arsene Wenger," which I don't know why that was justified. I can understand why people love the guy, they adore him, he's done so much for his club, and yes, he has merited that chant from time to time. But it's the start of the season, we haven't brought anyone in. Our £35 million signing is starting on the bench. We're still starting with Francis Coquelin in midfield. We've got Alexis Sanchez as striker. We're going into the game unprepared. Why does he merit the chant "One Arsene Wenger" in that opening game against Liverpool? He certainly doesn't. And then you go to the game against Leicester, 6 odd days later, and there's hordes of fans chanting "We want Wenger out." It just shows the absolute split in the club. And I would agree in saying that maybe the more hardcore fans go to the away games as opposed to the home fans. I mean, one example I'll give you is that I have a friend that's a West Ham fan, and he got tickets to the game against Arsenal, against Liverpool. It just shows the type of fans that we attract at our home games. We attract a lot of neutrals. That's why we can't generate a proper atmosphere at the Emirates. The same is going to happen to West Ham. But when I went to Hull away last year, when we beat them 4-0 in the FA Cup, and the banner came out, there was torrents of chanting, torrents of, I wouldn't say abuse, but torrents of, I don't know, some word.
That's when you got pictured in that's when
that was when I got on BT Sport. That was my moment. Yeah. That was when I really saw the passionate side of fans. Yeah. That's when I saw the banner come out. That's when it's certainly been its most rowdy. I would say.
It's very interesting you say that because me and Perry are opposite. So Perry goes to the home games. I don't go to the home games. I go to the away games. I didn't go last season because I looked at the transfer market and just thought I cannot afford to be going all over the country when they're not investing. Do you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's my money. I go out and I work for it. So
yeah, I mean, when you look at how much someone, especially in our age bracket, spends on going to Arsenal,
exactly,
it's a big chunk of money. It's a lot of money. I mean, especially anyone ranging from 16 to 21 that's spending 1,000 odds on a season ticket. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
I couldn't justify.
I've got a question.
Yeah. But just before that, just going off that last point, I couldn't justify paying that. And do you know what? I found it quite insulting what Arsene Wenger came out and said after the game yesterday when he was talking about his 600 employees. When he's an employee himself, do you know what I mean? You are an employee yourself. What about the millions of fans? I just thought I'd throw that out there because I thought that was I didn't like that comment.
I felt so disrespected by that. I felt so disrespected.
I thought, am I overreacting? Am I overreacting?
No, you're not overreacting. No, not at all.
That comment was horrible. Like, come on.
But the thing is, I wasn't shocked at that comment because in previous seasons he said things where the reporters have said to him, "Don't you owe anything to the fans?" And he's just been like, "No." Like, he just blatantly said no, and like Arsenal fans have just forgotten about these sort of comments. I remember him clearly doesn't owe the fans explanations and stuff like that. So I wasn't shocked by the comments. I was just more angered by them because Arsenal fans want to know what's going on. It's not a joke to people who their average income is £26,000 a year and they're spending £2,000 on a season ticket. It's not a joke. Like when you're going to home games, you want a return on your investment. Like if Arsenal lowered their season ticket to a realistic amount for the amount of ambition that they put out, then you could justify at least paying, like Paul Merson said, £800 a ticket.
Definitely.
Like when Wenger says oh, I want to sign Mustafi, but I don't want to pay 30 million. I want to pay 20 million because that's how much I value him. Well, what if we value, like Paul Merson said the other day on Soccer Saturday on Gillette Soccer? What if we value a season ticket at 800, but you're charging a grand 200? Like, well, we're not going to pay a grand 200. We're going to pay 800 because that's how much we value it. Because you're not winning anything. You're not winning any leagues, so we're not going to pay 1,200. That's how much we value it. Like, it doesn't work like that. Sometimes you have to pay the going rate. Like, it's not. Another strange thing is it's not like Arsenal are getting less money nowadays. Like, the TV deals have gone up. You're seeing clubs like Leicester with competitive money. You're seeing clubs like Everton spending decent amounts of money.
West,
It's not.
like, you saw
It's not
Crystal
like
Palace spend 30 mil the
Crystal
other
Palace
day.
bought, spend 32 mil on Benteke. It's not like clubs are making less money nowadays. They're all making more money. It's not like the price has gone up for players. The transfer market has unbalanced anything. The
So
prices
Perry,
of players have gone up, and the amount of money the club making on TV deals has gone up as well. So it's inequivalent to how it's always pretty much been. If not, probably more money to spend for clubs. So I just don't understand. The logic behind the things that he says regarding money.
I'll say,
Just
Perry,
don't
what
get it.
was your question? What was your question?
So my question was for Cookie. Like, if do you think, right? Like, let's say we can't really say this because Mourinho's gone, but if he was at Chelsea and from this season onwards he didn't get sacked, and last season they came second or third or whatever, and he didn't get sacked, and then from this season onwards he went 12 years without winning a league. Do you think Chelsea fans would react the same way? Like, is it something to do with Arsenal fans in particular, or is it just something that just happens with just a loyalty that's just been accumulated over a certain amount of success? Like, if Mourinho was to go at Chelsea now and just not win anything for 12 years, pick up 2 FA Cups in 2025 or something like that, like, would we see a different reaction? Would he been booted out by now if Roman Abramovich just sat back? If he was a neutral like Kroenke, just sat back, didn't do anything?
I think the difference
What do you
is
reckon?
with Abramovich and Stan Kroenke and Ivan Gazidis and the like. Those people, Kroenke, etc., are satisfied and content with us continuing to get a top four finish because it's a healthy return for them. And what you've got to remember is we paid £390 million to move to a new stadium. And what Arsene Wenger has done for Arsenal is he's successfully moderated us in the top four for over a decade now, which the board will look at as a major success. Because if we'd have slipped out of the top four, then that would have been somewhat of a disaster for them because they wouldn't have got the return that they so desperately wanted. They're turning over money. Kroenke has got cash in reserves, which we are able to use. So it's not entirely Kroenke's fault. Wenger has the money. It's just his reluctance to spend it. And for the first, maybe up until 2013, I would say I could sympathise with Arsene Wenger and that he had to pay off this stadium debt by selling Nasri, by selling Fabregas, by selling Van Persie, etc., so on and so forth. And we maintained that top four finish. We kept the club in a stable, healthy position. But 2013 onwards, when we signed Mesut Ozil, we knew that this club had the potential to go places and we had that chance to push on. We'd already built an exciting team over that 10 years, essentially, when we brought in players like Oxlade-Chamberlain, players that were there for the future. And albeit some of those players haven't worked out, the British core has been an absolute calamity show at times.
Yeah.
You know, things haven't worked out the way they meant to.
It's such a shame that, because I remember the Emirates had them all on the side of the
Yeah,
stadium.
the away kit launch, Carl
Ah.
Jefferson was there. I mean, it was an emotional day, but sadly it hasn't quite worked out for
I
us.
love that, man. I had that as my I had that as my Facebook cover photo. Like,
Yeah,
yes.
so did I. I think we all did at a point.
Like, yes, like, quickly, I wanted to mention, I was looking into the fear of Arsenal leaving, as you said, amongst younger fans. Like, a lot of younger fans, it is all we know. But when you look at where we finished before Wenger, like, okay, we won the league in 89, 1990, fourth place, 1991, first place, 1992, fourth place. Okay, 93 slipped down to 10th. 94, fourth again. 95, 12th. So that's two outside the top four. Then 96, fifth. Then Wenger comes in halfway through 97, third, first, and we know what happens after that. But people talk as if we were relegation bound before he comes in. We're still a top team there. we're doing better than we have in the last 8 years before Wenger comes in. Like, if you look at it,
Yeah, it's a good point.
And it's only when you really.
It's a good point, and
so
yeah, it's a good point. I mean, I don't want to slander the man.
I wouldn't say he's not. Obviously,
I don't want to slander the man, but I think he's overrated.
He's taken us He's taken us forward in his first 10 years. But realistically, we were on our way there.
Yeah, and let's not forget that he also inherited what was already a great team. You can't deny that he already brought in some great players in Vieira, Henry, Petit, Overmars, but a lot of that was already a very stable, very exciting team. I mean, the one thing that you could argue with is that he didn't consistently get European spots. Well, the previous manager didn't before Arsene Wenger, but I mean, what I fail to see with this consistent finishing in the top four is, yeah, it's good in terms of finances for the club, and yes, it will help attract the top players in the long run.
Apparently.
But, I mean, that's not. I mean, that goes out the window now, because you look at United, the allure of Manchester United on its own when they're bringing in Pogba, Zlatan. I mean, it makes us look like dare I say, a small club, but it makes us look like we're not able to compete with those teams. I think
literally, that's what me and Travis was talking about. I was like, no, that Pogba deal was more of a statement than a transfer. It was just like, look what we can do. It wasn't even necessarily just towards Arsenal. It's to all the other clubs. Like, look, you lot have been having your fun for 3 years, yeah. Look what we can do now. Like, we're just gonna get Pogba. We sold it. He left on a free. We're gonna get Pogba back for 100 mil. Like, we actually want the transfer fee to be ridiculous, just so that we can show like what we can do. It's just like I
think the most annoying part about that is Pogba has a massive chance of winning the Champions League with Juventus, considering they've brought in Higuain. They've brought in these other players. They've had a fantastic transfer window. They have a real chance of going the distance in the Champions League. They're going to win the Serie A this season. The fact he's left them for what was a rather calamitous United side over the past 3-4 years, I mean, it just speaks absolute volumes about where United stand in the world of football. I wish we had that level of standing in the footballing world.
No, you know what? I don't wish we would go out there and spend 90 million on a player rising to 100 million. I don't even care about that. What I wish is we just had ambition. Like, not replacing Van Persie for 4 years, for me, is a clear sign of lack of ambition. Like, that's criminal. Like, for a club this size, we're the 5th richest club in football. Like, a club at this level, to not replace a key position in any team
and
for 4 years shows a clear lack of ambition. But I've got another question. Probably my final question is: would you? All right. So a lot of people are like, we want Wenger out. But when Wenger goes, Gazidis is still going to be there. Kroenke is still going to be there. So realistically, in my mind, when Wenger leaves, if this is his last season as he's not renewed his contract yet, if he leaves, I hope to God he does not renew his contract, please. But if he does leave, realistically, they're not going to go and approach managers like Diego Simeone. They're not going to go and approach those boys. They're not going to approach that caliber of manager. I just can't see it. Like, that's too much of a high caliber manager for them. Like, who will not just do everything that they suggest.
So what you're saying is, they're going to get a yes man? Will they get a yes man? Like, is that what you're saying?
Who's going to be the yes man? Who's going to be the yes man? Like, I'm so interested.
I really wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't be surprised if Steve Bold got that job. Seriously, seriously.
That'd be horrible.
I don't want him. I'm just saying I would not be surprised.
Because you can't go from years of Wenger making you ridiculous amounts of money, qualifying for Champions League every year. We know Arsenal are more business minded. Well, I think Arsenal are more business minded than they are competitive and ambitious. You can't go from a man like Wenger guaranteeing you money every single year to a man who's like, yo, I need 80 million now. Like, I need 80 million if you want me to win. I need 80 million now. Like, talk to me. Like, that's not a realistic proposition. Like, how is that going to work?
Okay, well, let's be realistic about it for a second, because if we do finish inside the top 4 this season, which I think is more than likely, he will get offered a new contract. Without a shadow of a doubt, he will be offered a new contract.
Don't say that, man.
I guarantee you it will happen.
That just felt like someone punched me in the stomach. Seriously, like.
Whilst the club is stable, I guarantee you, we will continue to stay where we are in terms of keeping Arsene Wenger in the club. He will be offered a new contract because that's what the owners want. Only if we finish outside the top four will they think, hang on a minute, we need something to change up. And even them, they could go for someone like Eddie Howe, which I'm not against. I want to see something new. I want to see us freshened up, but someone that will guarantee us a top four finish. I'm not saying Eddie Howe will do that. We could find ourselves entering a period like Man United have, where we go through a series of 5 to 10 years where we don't have any success, which I don't, that would probably rile fans even more. But
which we're doing now, yeah.
Yeah, that's much so. But I certainly buy into the idea that we've got to, at some point, take a step backwards to take one forwards. It's going to be interesting to see how it does.
Right, Cookie, all right. So Wenger leaves, we get a new manager, we end up drifting out of the top four. Will Arsenal do what United done to try and get themselves back in the top four? Will Arsenal pull out all stops? Because I just don't think that's a reality. I just don't feel that they would do that. I don't feel they're ambitious enough to do that.
I mean, you've got to look at what managers are available for a start. The only ones that I can think off the top of my head are, the one that springs to mind is Joachim Low, who's actually come out and said that if he was going to move to the Premier League, he'd come to manage Arsenal, and I'd welcome him with open arms. But
Pep originally wanted the Arsenal job over Man City.
Exactly. But the more we persist with Wenger, the more we run the risk of losing out on stellar managers. Liverpool have got a long-term option. City have got a long-term option. United have got a long-term option. Tottenham have got a long-term option. Everton have got a long-term option. We have an option that is starting to die out. And yes, Wenger is a fantastic manager, but we need to see a fresh approach because we're getting left behind. We need to start spending the money that we've got in reserve because it's just, I don't know what the point in having the money is. And as well as that, it's more the fact that Wenger is being played like a puppet on strings by Kroenke and Gazidis. The fact that he's a yes man so much. The fact that he has to justify himself with the type of statements that he came out yesterday saying that Rob Holding, he's 20 years old, he put in a great performance, he's English, everyone should be happy, but no one's going to give him any plaudits because he didn't cost 55 million. I can agree with that, but it doesn't change the fact we still need another centre-half and we still need a striker. And it's comments like that which worry me.
What he said about Real Madrid was ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, just a lot of the stuff he's saying just really concerns me. And what I can anticipate going into this game against Watford is a 2013 Bayern Munich pre-match press conference. Do you remember that when he absolutely tore off with the media? I can anticipate that coming.
Is that the one where the media, that guy from Sky Sports just stuck it on him and just started asking him the most uncomfortable questions? Is that the one?
Yeah, and he's like, "Well, why you look at me?"
Yeah. Is it the one where he said, oh no, what was the press conference when Wenger goes, well, you tell me who I should buy? Like, what was that? And he was like, well, go on. He's like, who's available then? Who should I buy? Like, tell me. Like, go on. You keep asking me. Tell me. I was just like, you're the man. You're the man of Arsenal. Like, you don't need to be getting into these sort of discussions, man. Just do the job. Yeah, I don't know. Everyone who knows me knows my viewpoint on Wenger by now, innit? I'm far less patient than your average Arsenal fan, innit? Like Tim,
put it this way. Put it this way. I met Perry in 2010, and he was already saying Wenger Out. Already.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? He was one of them early ones.
I've always known. Yeah, I've always known that Wenger's a hard-headed man who does things his own way, which you respect for as well, because it's also brought Arsenal amazing players throughout the years. It's brought us players that if he had a different mindset, they would not have come about. He's brought us people that if his attitude was different, they wouldn't have got a chance. If he didn't do it his own way, they wouldn't have come about. Like when I see interviews of Arsenal fans and then they say like, what needs to change? Like, what does Wenger need to do? I'm just like, that's such a pointless question because he's not gonna. Like, what do you mean? What does he need to do? He's not going to do what he needs to do because that's how Wenger operates. He doesn't see the need to go and spend extra excess of money. He has a valuation on players. If the fee exceeds his valuation, he doesn't buy them. As simple as that. Like, he just doesn't buy them. Like, that's just how he operates.
But he will accept that inflated contract though. He will.
Yeah, he'll accept 60. What is his wage? 8 million a year. He'll accept that.
Right. Lastly, what can Arsenal do to mend the problems amongst the fans at the club, not just the players, because we can talk about that all day, but that can't be helping. That can't be helping the team at all. And there's a lot of infighting between the fans. I've heard that there's actually been physical altercations. I've never seen it away, but I've heard last season. I've heard last season there were a few physical altercations.
I think it was at Arsenal Tottenham when a guy went flying down the steps where I was at.
That shouldn't be happening against Spurs of all teams. But yeah, like what do you think we could do to mend that, Cookie? Like what would mend the split really?
I don't think there's any real way of mending it as long as Arsene Wenger is in charge of the club, because people are at a point now where they're so adamant that even if we were to win the league, they'd still want him out. They probably just wouldn't be as vocal about it if we were to have some type of moderate success in the near future. It's a bit like it all went quiet when we won the FA Cup. There were no protests there. It was all about getting behind the team.
It's funny because I thought that was the perfect time for him to leave after the first.
Yeah, after the first FA Cup. Yeah, it was. It was just there on a pedestal for him to leave. But the only thing that I think is going to save his balls now is if we go out there and we sign 2 top-class players in the centre-back department and the striking department, because that will show ambition, it will show that we're getting what we need. But with 10 days to go, do I realistically think we're going to sign a striker, especially with Alexander Lacazette coming out and saying that he's happy at Lyon? Who's out there? There's no one out there at all. So no, I don't think we're going to sign a striker. We've left it far too late. We're looking at options just breeze past us. Centre-back, yes, we can get Mustafi done. We've just got to put the money down for him, the money that we've got, to get it done.
We're currently haggling over 3 million.
It's atrocious. And the fact that it took a month to get Rob Holding done, just to get 2 million off his fee, I mean, it's absolutely abysmal how we're a penny pinching club. It's embarrassing, especially, you look back a couple of years ago with the Luis Suarez deal. That was where this all started. That's where it got embarrassing. But we've got a long way to go in terms of getting the fans to unite. And all it takes is, what it could take is we get these 2 stellar signings in, which, could still happen. We've seen it happen before in the past. Could get Mustafi done this coming week. Week after that on deadline day, we sign Lacazette. Who knows what could happen? I'm not ruling anything out, but that, in my book, is unlikely. And then say we go on and we beat Watford, and then we've got 2 fairly easy games after that as well, I think. So we should be looking for 9 points out of 9 after our next 3 fixtures. And at that point, we could be sitting pretty at 3rd or 4th in the table, a couple of points off top. We've got these 2 new signings in. Everything's looking good. We've got Koscielny back. We've got Ozil, Giroud starting. And we look like a solid team. But all it takes is for us to lose to Chelsea and it's pandemonium again. Yeah. So it just shows how unstable this club is. It shows that the mindset of the fans could sometimes be incredibly topsy-turvy. But all I want is for the best of the club. I haven't really ever given my standpoint on where I think Arsene Wenger should be in terms of management.
I have noticed. I've noticed.
Do you have an opinion?
I've noticed.
Or do you just not have an opinion?
No, I do have an opinion on it. I just wouldn't want to get quoted or anything. No, I mean, I'm happy to say that what I want is for the best of the club.
Yeah.
And if that's with Arsene Wenger, then so be it. If he was to spend 80 million in the next 10 days, and we got what we need, and we showed ambition, and we had a really good season, but we got pipped at the end by United, fine. I can't argue that he's done his best. But the thing that winds me up is the past couple of years where we've had the money in reserve. I just think now he's starting to lose it a little bit with the things that are coming out in the press conferences where he's haggling over this. He's not caught up with the modern market. And it's nothing personal against Arsene Wenger. I'm sure he's a lovely guy. He supposedly left his wife for Arsenal. And I'm sure he's got so much dedication and love for the club. But
you know what? I think that's a reason why he's so adamant that he wants to stay, is because I feel like in his personal life he probably doesn't really have much other than football. I heard him quote that.
Yeah.
It's sad that, really.
Yeah, you said Fergie's
I've heard him quote it, man.
Yeah, Fergie's got his horses. What have I got? Arsenal.
I've heard him say, I've heard them interview him, Wenger, happy birthday. What are you going to be doing for your birthday? Oh, I'm going out for a meal, then I'm just going to come back and just watch football. That's just all I do, just watch football. So I can see he may have issues in his personal life and he just resorts back to Arsenal. That's his escape, or that's what he dedicates his life to. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
But one thing quickly before we wrap this up, is the star situation. You got Ozil and Sanchez. Having a player like Ozil and not having a striker is just a disgrace. When you look back, man, in the future, and we go, oh my God, we had Ozil. Like, we took Mesut Ozil from Real Madrid, and we didn't have a clinical striker. Like, what was going on? Like, what's going? That's just ridiculous to me. It's just out of my.
Yeah, don't worry, mate.
Understand why Wenger.
Christmas.
Yeah, I think that's what Wenger's already said, hasn't he? He's already said Welbeck's coming back, so kind of took a hint that he's probably, in case he doesn't get a striker. I heard him in his presser the other day. But oh man,
Anyway.
so I can't remember if it was you, Travis, who said to me, if we don't do anything this season, then you can imagine Sanchez and Ozil leaving or wanting to leave at the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they they shouldn't really have any loyalty to us like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, if they're in the prime of their life, they should be wanting to win things. In my opinion, they should be going into Wenger's office and going, what's happening? Like, I want to win the Champions League. Like, what is going on? Arsenal fans, we don't even think about the Champions League as much as we should do. I don't think, really.
No.
What? Sorry?
We don't think about the Champions League as much as we should do, because we always thinking about, we want to compete for the title. We're a big club. We should be going for the Champions League. But that's a whole other debate. But what I was gonna say is, thank you for your time, Cookie. Thanks for your time. Make sure you go and check out AFC Game by Game for them match reviews and match previews. This is the Hangout Sessions. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at the Hang Sesh. Like our new Facebook page as well. We just started that, and we are out.